Hey guys, my name is Magnetico and welcome back to the series where we take video game systems, we clean them up, repair them if need be, and sometimes we even mod them. And we're going to be taking a look back at the PlayStation that we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. This is the same one that was on eBay listed as this drive no longer working. If you guys remember, well, it came with the controller too, no cords. And the controller was really cool because it was the original PS1 controller with no DualShock. But we ended up taking this guy apart, cleaning it up completely, and all we had to do was clean the lens with a Q-tip and isopropyl alcohol. And this guy ended up reading the discs. However, if you guys remember, it was working really hard to do it. So what we ended up doing afterwards was we installed the X Station, which is an optical drive emulator that lets you read the games off an SD drive or card, or a micro SD card. And at this point, this system I consider pretty much complete. I did have to buy cords for it, a new controller. We'll cover those as the video goes by. But also, if you guys remember, when I installed the X Station on this, it was just like a hole and it was kind of hard to put in the micro SD card into it. So what I ended up doing was getting a mount, and I'm going to show you two options that you guys can go through for mounting it and kind of raising up the X Station and making it easier for you to take your SD cards in and out, or micro SD cards, whichever option you want to go with. I'm going to cover both of those. And also just a couple extra things that I consider just absolutely extra. I mean, you guys, there's some things that I consider vital for the function of this PlayStation at this point, and some of them are just because I'm just like, I need to have everything for a system kind of thing. So if this is your kind of thing where somebody goes through and cleans up systems, repairs them, or even mods them, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified every time I post a video. Let's get started. So to complete the system, obviously we're going to need the PlayStation 1. Go ahead and get some tools because we're going to open it up so we can install the dock for the X Station. I bought a power cable, so I'll have to keep using the one from the PlayStation 2 or 3, and an AV cable for the PlayStation 1 that I'll never use. I bought a DualShock controller so I can play all the games. And here we have the X Station mounts. The one on the left is for the SD or micro SD cards. I'm sorry, the one on the right is for SD cards. Here is the micro SD card, and you can use an adapter or get an SD card if you want. And I also bought a SCART cable, which is absolutely not needed, just to get the best picture for my gameplay videos. Bought 2 memory cards, third party. I'll go ahead and list all of these items again on the description below. And I went ahead and grabbed a PlayStation box off AliExpress, which looks legit, but you can tell just by opening it up, it does have all the features needed as far as like a little container for your PlayStation 1, but it's very brittle. So I know eventually I either have to be careful or just have to get another one at some point. Before we install any of these mounts, I want to go ahead and talk about both of them really briefly. The one on the left is the one I got off eBay for about $15, and I really like it because it is the perfect shape, and also it has the X Station logo on it, which I think was great. Now, what I didn't like about it was that you're kind of paying for what you get. The 3D printer edges were really rough. They didn't smooth it out in any way, and the color only comes in gray, at least the color that I could find. So my idea was to go ahead and kind of smooth it out a little bit and prime it and then paint it black so I can go ahead and install it and then just use the micro SD card, because as far as like putting in the micro SD card and taking it out, it was perfect. It fits really, really well. So that's something to consider. Now, when it comes to the other one, I found it off Laser Bear Industries, and it has a more premium look. You can tell that they didn't really skimp on any of the 3D printing, but it takes only SD cards. So you can either use the micro SD card and the adapter it came with, or you can get yourself an SD card separately altogether, which I think costs a little bit more right now than micro SD cards. Micro SD cards, they just have so many. I think they're just cheaper. So it's kind of an option what you kind of want to go with. I do like and went with the Laser Bear Industries one because I love the way it feels. It's black. You can actually choose any color that you want that they have available, not just black or gray or anything like that. They have like purple and blue and whatever else you need. If you have a custom case for your PlayStation, you can install any color that you like. The installation is actually not that bad either, and it reads just as fast. It also has a more premium feel because everything is like spring loaded, including the SD card, so it's really easy to access. I just really like the look of it, and I'll show you guys once we're done kind of like how they both look. I'll take the camera and I'll get really close to that way you guys can make an informed decision for yourselves. So here we have the PlayStation system, and as you can see, I already have the board installed. Again, it's really hard to get a hold of that micro SD card because it's kind of like under the system. So brackets are always a great choice. As we've done many times before, we're going to take off the 6 screws under the system. And once we take those out, we can flip the system over, and then the top of the PlayStation should be able to be removed rather easily if you just slide it upwards. So we're going to go ahead and start with this eBay X-Station bracket here. This green bracket that I have here, we have to place on the 3 pillars where the laser used to be installed at. And you got to watch out for this ribbon too. You got to make sure this bracket is on top of the ribbon, not under it. So I kind of flip the board over my way. I'll put the bracket on top. Also make sure it's all the way in there so that way the board has a place to sit. Once you place the board on top, we can grab our 3D printed piece, and then we can just place that on top where the 3 little pillars are as well. It's that easy. None of this is difficult. Place the top of the PlayStation back on and go ahead and hit open. And as you can see, it's installed. And we're going to take the micro SD card and just kind of put it in there. As you can see, it's super easy. A little bit difficult with gloves, but it's so easy to put in and take out. I've tried it without the gloves and it's great. So here is the final product. Again, I love the look. If it was black, it would have been amazing. But again, a little bit rough around the edges when it comes to the 3D printing. Next, we'll do the Laser Bear Industries one. As you can see, it does have a ribbon that goes from the micro SD slot on the board all the way up to the SD card reader on the board itself. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in there. Again, it's spring loaded, which is nice. The little ribbon, just make sure it goes upwards like it is here on the video, and just place the board nice and snug on top of the X-Station board. And again, it's that easy. So we're going to put the top of the PlayStation back on. We're going to hit the open button, and look at that. It looks great. So we're going to, since I don't have an SD card, I'm going to go ahead and put the micro SD card that I have into the SD card reader adapter and place it in there. Again, it's spring loaded, and look at that. I love the look. I really do. Let me give you a close up here. Just look at this premium looking product. I love the color. I just love what Laser Bear Industries has done with this. So the last item I'm going to work on is going to be the DualShock controller that I got off eBay, and it's going to be 7 screws, 3 on each handle and 1 in the middle. And I always tend to take apart all these secondhand items that I buy off eBay or anywhere else, just because, you know, sometimes maybe the seller's not aware of what's going on inside of the actual controller. Sometimes, more often than not, I'll find some kind of sticky residue that's in the controller, and unfortunately I found some soda. But fortunately, one of the cool things is, as you can see, L2 and R2 have a screw on it. This is one of the first generation DualShock controllers. So I took this guy apart, and there was like this sticky residual substance under the D-pad and then some under the select and start button. So I took some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush, cleaned the whole thing up, make sure I got rid of all the sticky stuff, and then I put the controller back on and ended up feeding the wire through a napkin and some isopropyl alcohol, just so I can remove any dirt that might be on the wire itself. And as you can see, when I open up this napkin, it's pretty gross. So it's always good to clean up your secondhand goods. So I'll just go ahead and clean the last of it here with a toothbrush and isopropyl alcohol. And here is the end result. It is a beautiful looking controller, clicky, tight, it's ready to go. So to me, this PlayStation is now complete, especially for my purposes. We went ahead and messed around with it for a couple of weeks where we cleaned up all the innards. We went ahead and took out the laser because it was dying on us, and we replaced it with an ODE, or optical drive emulator, which was the X-Station. And we also found a little mount for the SD card or micro SD card as well, so that way it's easier to access as well. So before I put this away into that box that I bought from AliExpress and put it into my collection of PlayStation systems, some of you guys on my TikTok left a couple of messages that you guys wanted me to try out Legend of Dragoon. So I went ahead and copied a version of this into my PCs, and then I went ahead and put it into the SD card so we can go ahead and try it out together. Here's the comment that you guys stated. You know, somebody said, hey, Legend of Dragoon. Somebody posted this. So I'm more than happy to do this so that way you guys can see some gameplay during my outro. Again, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching me take care of this PlayStation. Definitely more systems to come in the future, but if this is your kind of thing where somebody goes through and cleans up the system, fixes it if need be, and also mods them, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified every time I post a video. Bye bye.